talking about basic compliance today. So this is what we call the compliance 101. While I have all of y'all, please register for these online. This class was almost at the point of being canceled because we had zero sign up for it.
Can I still sign up or
I don't know if it'll let you sign up,
Okay.
but you can try.
I'll try.
So when we talk about just general compliance with TREC and with the office, we're gonna talk about TCPA also. Basic principles about the code of ethics. Protect and promote your client's interests. That's what fiduciary means, right? We're gonna do everything to protect the client. Protecting the client is gonna protect us. Avoid exaggerations, misrepresentations, concealment of pertinent facts. You have to disclose. If you have a client, which has happened recently, well, I don't want to disclose that. You have to disclose it, and best practice would be to fire the client because they're withholding information, material information. Cooperate with other real estate professionals to advance your client's best interest. TREC changed the rules last year that as a real estate agent, sales agent, you have to return or respond to any type of inquiries within 2 days. And it doesn't say that you have to give an answer to it, but you have to have replied. Yes, I received this. The offer's been submitted, waiting for comment. For someone to get back with me, just so they know that you heard. Whenever you are part of a transaction, so either you're buying or selling property that you own, or you're buying and selling property that you own a percentage of the company that may own the property, you have to disclose that. You have to disclose it right up front. It's also in our contracts. You also have to disclose any present or contemplated interest in any property. Have you ever gone to take a listing and it's like, wow, I would actually like this house for myself? You need to disclose that to the seller that you're thinking about purchasing this, and best practice at that point would maybe have someone else list it. If they don't want someone else to list it, you're not going to list it yourself, but you're going to do the best CMA you've ever done in your life for that seller. Oh, and avoid any type of sale side deals without your client's informed consent. This one came up probably last year, where an agent was told, well, if you take my listing, I've got 4 other ones that I'll give you, but you have to do this. Well, it was kind of a side deal that we can't get into. It all has to be up front. Our code of ethics says that everything will be in writing. And where else is that about writing? There's a form that we use. Nope, even before you use that. Oh, IABS. Yeah, it says it on there. Code of ethics, accept compensation from only one party, except with full disclosure and informed consent. And everything goes through the broker. You don't take any checks in your name or you put anything into your accounts. Everything goes directly to the broker. So have it made out to Keller Williams Memorial and bring it here. Keep funds of clients and customers in escrow. Hopefully you're not taking any funds from any clients. This was more written back when we took the earnest money and option money ourselves as an agent. And then we took it and gave it to the seller or gave it to the title company. Never was it to be sold to you and then you distribute those funds. It is commingling and that's against TREC. Assure whenever possible that transactional details are in writing. Well, with the changes lately, everything is going to be in writing. Buyer's representation agreements, of course, listing agreements, you always have to have a listing agreement before you could put a house on the market. Now, with the changes, you have to have a buyer's representation agreement before you open a door. Be sure you're always using the most current forms. You know, we've had a lot of updates just last month, 6/24. 24. Those were all the new TAO forms came out, so you must be making sure you're using the correct document. TREC is in the process of updating every single contract. By probably the first of the year now, broker lawyer committee met on it last week. It'll go to the full commission in August, then it'll go for 30 days public comment. If everything's accepted, they're saying October, I really don't think it'll be that quick. So let's say between October and January, we'll have all the forms. That'll be all the contracts. And the one I remember most was the third-party financing. So those will all be updated. Loop, DocuSign are real good about getting them in as soon as TREC with these we will TREC. As soon as TREC sends them to those, they get them uploaded, and then we have a company that's going to map them, put in where everybody fills it out.
Chris, can I ask about the buyer's representation agreement?
Mm-hmm.
So, this may be nitpicking, but let's say, for example, I have buyers and their friend wants to come along to showings. Can I allow their friend to come along without?
You can. Have you been to my buyer's class?
Yeah, but I don't know, there's maybe because it hasn't come up for me yet.
Okay, I have a statement you can put in special provisions. I don't remember the exact wording, but it says something. Oh, any guest that you bring, you are accepting total liability, and then you will identify the broker for any acts.
Okay,
So.
and then if that happens after the agreement is signed, I just do an amendment to the document.
You can, or you could just put it in there normally, have that as your
Okay.
your standard.
Okay,
Because you get you can tell us how many times you get mother, father, brother, sister, cousins. Yeah,
well, and for me, it was a situation of my client is new construction, the home is almost ready, but still doesn't have a sidewalk, doesn't have. And her friend wants to come and see and maybe possibly might be interested in that
Right.
community as well. Well, I had her friend sign a buyer's agreement, because my first thought was, if she falls.
you're not identified.
Is that gonna put me liable for, for taking her to this new construction center, So I had her sign one, even though she's like, I'm not wanting to buy right now, I'm like, I know, and
That's
then
okay, you might know their buyer's rep, which is fine.
well, liability, I
Right.
need to make sure that we're all covered,
So that statement, if you
So
say.
you put in special provisions.
Yeah, I just always add it to special provisions for mine.
So can you repeat that? Were you saying that if you're gonna take additional people to a showing, they need to be added to the special provisions?
No, you can add a statement to the special provisions that whoever your clients are, they invite anybody else along for showings, that they are taking full responsibility, will hold the broker, will indemnify the broker and hold us not liable. I have a statement, I just don't remember what it is off the top of my head.
Okay,
Then it's putting the earnest on them. They understand if they get hurt or something, it's on that client, not on Keller Williams.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Always use the most current forms. Provide equal service to all clients and customers. That's standard of practice 10-5. We've always talked about this, fair housing, you're not gonna steer. Not work with someone because of something that falls into fair housing. Right now, with our code of ethics from NAR, you have to take the class every 3 years. This is the end of the 3 years, so if you haven't taken it, you have until December to complete that course. It's offered through HAR, a couple other places. We do not offer it here. We don't have an instructor who's approved by NAR to teach it. Code of ethics.
Every 3 years?
Every 3 years. Yeah. And you can go on to NAR and check to see what your status is, whether or not you need it. If you got your license in the last 3 years, you're not gonna, you've taken it, you had to take it. Be knowledgeable and competent in the fields of practice in which you ordinarily engage. Obtain assistance or disclose lack of experience if necessary. These are code of ethics. Trick says that you will be competent in the area of real estate you're practicing. So if you're doing residential, you need to be competent in residential. If you're doing commercial, well, that's a whole different type. Trek says that whenever you do a new type of real estate, you need to be mentored or have somebody to coach you for the first 3 transactions. Communicate honestly and present a true picture in your advertising, marketing, and other public representations. Have you ever seen or gone to show a property? When you looked at the pictures, it was great. When you get there, there's power lines in the backyard. But you never saw them on pictures. Was that being truthful and honest? If you do any type of virtual staging, you have to put that on the picture when you upload it with HAR.
Talking about that, Mitch, I many times find transformers in the back of the backyards. And I know that those explode and they can really cause any the fire. And I have 2 cases of those.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, so should I have to say every time I show one that has a transformer that this is a risk?
Not necessarily, because it's kind of. There's so many things that you have to disclose like that, but since you have experience with it.
Yes,
Yeah.
2 cases.
And what we say, if you have to ask, disclose. So. Portray a true picture in your advertising and materials. Do you have a picture that was taken when you were 20 and you're now 60? Have you seen that? Have you gone to meet an agent and they walk up and it's like, oh, I was expecting to see your son? There are several agents that are still using pictures from actually 20 years ago that I know of. Last century, exactly. So it's true in all of your advertising, yourself, and be careful with the AI pictures now. Because sometimes they'll change eye color, make it so it's truly not you. Ensure that your status as a real estate professional is readily apparent. You need to disclose that you are a realtor. Trek doesn't say that, but our code of ethics says you will. Realtor can only be used with your name. Mitch Rainey Realtor. You can't do Mitch Rainey Houston Realtor, #1 Realtor, nothing like that. It's your name in the word, the copyright. And always have to disclose the firm in reasonable and readily apparent manner. So Keller Williams Memorial has to be on all your marketing. Can be no smaller than half the size of the largest contact information. Do not engage in the unauthorized practice of law. Trek has a working group all on unauthorized practice of law. Trying to, well, you've seen how all the special provisions was rewritten last time. Says you cannot practice law. This paragraph is to be used to complete another paragraph or for specific details. I've always looked at it, if you're writing anything that says if this, then that, you're practicing law. Anything that's gonna take away the rights or responsibilities of one of the clients is practicing law. I've seen a note that they're gonna extend the closing. And it said that the buyer will deposit $1,000 non-refundable earnest money. Earnest money is defined, it is always refundable. So right there, you're practicing law. If you get a code of ethics violation, be proactive with it. Anyone can file a code of ethics and you're gonna always be asked for a response. Give the response, have documentation. The Professional Standards Boards for TAR, I'm a member of that. And the way it works, we'll get a complaint and then we have a tribunal that looks at it first. And we're gonna look at what was submitted to us and all we can look at is what was submitted. Does this look like it could be an ethics violation? If we think yes, we have to name what code it is. And then it's sent to the next step, which is again, a tribunal, and it's kind of actually a hearing. So we'll have the defendant there and whoever's filing the complaint, and they're gonna say why they think it was a code of ethics. And then it's up to the three of us to decide, is it a code of ethics violation? But be proactive. Sometimes I've seen them and it's like, you don't know, but you didn't get anything from the other side. So we have to go with it that this was a code of ethics violation. And if the person doesn't show up for the ethics hearing, well, then you're guilty, just by default. Ensure that your comments about other real estate professionals are truthful and are not misleading. That was added. So it used to be that if you were in a transaction with somebody, you can't say anything negative about them. Now it's across the board. Can't be writing things about, he's the worst realtor I've ever worked with, or any derogatory remarks, nothing that would violate the protected classes also. That is a violation of your code of ethics. Arbitrate and mediate contractual or specific non-contractual disputes. Understand the difference between TREC and TAR. TAR is going to be doing anything between us as realtors. That's going to go through Texas Association. Anything that does with ethics goes through association. Anything that goes with our compensation goes through the association. TREC don't care. Now, when the RESPA was written for the state of Texas, they used our code of ethics to write it. So if you look at it, it goes pretty close to what we have.
I have a question about that. So with all these changes in the comment that as a realtor, we don't have to be part of NAR.
Right.
And then I've heard comments all over the place regarding that. Where does that, is that tied into this?
Not into our code of ethics, but with the settlement, we don't have to be a member of NAR. But you don't have to be a member of NAR in the state of Texas anyway, you're a sales agent.
Okay,
You're just not a realtor. A lot of brokers want you to be a realtor because then you abide by the code of ethics. And all of those forms that we use, buyer's representation agreement, all the lease forms, the commercial forms, the listing agreements, all those are all association forms. You're not a member, you cannot use those.
okay, okay, that's what I was getting at. Okay.
Yep, you'd have to be hiring a lawyer to write them up yourself. All right, TREC advertising rules. As of May 2018, I can't believe it's gone that long. Defines alternative names. Okay, my name is Mitchell W. Ray Jr. But since Mitch is a common derivative of Mitchell, I can use that. Now, if I decided to market myself as Wayne, which is my middle name, I have to file an alternative name for that. Just so it always ties back to my license number. If you're using any type of, well, we have our own brokerage, Dan Mitchell Realty. That's a separate brokerage, which we had to get licensed through the state. Now, you don't have to go to that step. If you're just gonna use something for being paid in for tax purposes, you can register that. There's a steps to go through it. If you're going to be advertising, let's say Dan Mitchell Realty, I would just need to get a DBA for that so that I have a legal right to use that and file it in the counties where I do business. bring it to the office, and then we file it with Trek. So if anyone's looking at Dan Mitchell Realty Group, it's gonna tie it right back to Keller Williams Memorial. You must do that before you can start any type of marketing on it. For the alternative name, that one's easy. You just use this form. Fill it out. Most of the time, if somebody needs it, I'll do it for you. You just have to sign it and we send it in. And when you look up someone on Trek who's using a middle name or a maiden name, you'll see their license name and then right underneath it, their alternative names. Fortunately, it does not show though if you're using a DBA. We should do it. Trek is updating the Trek website. It's supposed to be fourth quarter, but I haven't heard anything recently. Which will show a lot more detail. Like, it'll show a history of an agent. So where you were previously. Right now, if you look up my license number as a broker, you don't see which office I'm with. Well, they want to change that so you can see that associate broker is associated with this office. Right now, if I get a Trek complaint, Michael doesn't know anything about it.
There's no brokerage.
Because I'm my own broker. With the updates, they're going to have it so that the broker of record will also get a copy of associate broker's Trek complaint. Yeah, follow that.
Visual representation of what you just said.
So that's more like just attacking transparency, you want to keep transparency being active.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what's going on.
Mhm.
You build business.
A team name or a group name is one or more. What was going on before 2018, people were advertising under a name. And it made it look like they were the broker. So the general public didn't know who was responsible for the brokerage. So what they did, they changed it. It must always end in team or group, even if there's one person, team or group. Example I use there is Rainy Realty Group, Southwest Houston Team. Either one of those is compliant as long as I have a DBA for it and I've filed it with Trek, and the broker files it with Trek, and literally it takes me less than a minute to file it. Make sure you have a DBA and that you checked it. The agent, brand new agent in San Antonio wanted to use his name, Realty Group, but it was already being used by somebody out of Austin. They had never filed it. They had never filed it legally. So he actually filed it and sent this group a cease and desist letter through its lawyer. And they had to change all the marketing. Words that may not be used: president, CEO, COO, brokerage company associates, or anything similar like that. Anything that makes the general public think that you are the broker of record. You have responsibilities. Before advertising, it must be registered with Trek. And that is either you get yourself an LLC if you're looking at tax purposes, or an S corp. You file it with the state, with the Secretary of State, and then you're gonna bring us a copy of it, and we file it with Trek. If you're just gonna use it for advertising, you're not worried about using it for business tax purposes, you can just do a DBA and you can do that through the county. And you can go to any of the courthouse annexes to file it. I think in Harris County, I think it's $25.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really inexpensive.
One question.
Mhm.
I plan to use the DBA. Should I file each county I will do business?
It's best to file it with each county, but I would start with Harris County.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I live in Fort Bend, so should I go to the county?
Do it at Fort Bend County.
Just one is now.
Yeah, one's probably covered. If you're going to do it across the state, get yourself an LLC. And when you're doing the LLC, it'll ask you which states and you can hit, or which counties you hit all. So you have all the counties in Texas. Okay, what's considered an advertisement? Anything that's designed to get business. Anything the public's gonna see. That's gonna be your brochures, radio, television broadcasts, stationary business cards, social media, websites, all of that Trent looks at as advertising. You need to have your name, your group name if you have one, Keller Williams Memorial. Keller Williams Memorial will be no smaller than half the size of the largest contact information. With your social media websites, you have to have a complete IABS and the complete consumer protection notice. Best practice is to use our links we have through HAR. If anything changes, it's automatically updated, and the consumer protection notice is changing this year. They're updated. It didn't get updated for decades. And then it was updated twice last year, and then they're updating it once this year.
What about with video?
You have to have,
No, but like in the video. Do you have to state that you're just because I'm real estate agent with Keller Williams one every time,
do you have it, are you hosting it like on YouTube?
like on TikTok, right? Like doing little videos.
With the TikTok, is there a homepage for you? I'm not
Yes.
familiar.
Yeah,
It has to be on there.
so but you don't have to mention.
No, you don't have to do it on
Pretty much
each
the whole thing, or okay.
And it needs to be a readily accessible direct link, so they say one click away. If you're doing it on your social media, on your homepage, you can have a link that you click on that, it takes you right to maybe your website, which has it there. For social media, you can also post a picture of it as long as it's always on the top of your page. I like doing the link better because then it's easier to update it and easier to find. And we have tech people here at the office that can help you with that. And it's not me because I'm lost. According to our code of ethics, you need to have realtor also. So like with this one, XYZ Realty Group, Keller Williams Memorial, and you see Keller Williams Memorial is not smaller than half the size of this contact. It's the same thing with your signs. If you're putting your name on open house directional signs, it has to have Keller Williams Memorial on there. Anything that's you use for advertising, KW Memorial must be in there. Public needs to know who the brokerage is. Yes, sir.
I would just, because that's what market through Keller Williams marketing, so they probably already know the rules and regulations when they set up fire
Yes.
program and stuff, so they.
Yeah, and anything that they do, the grapevine marketing that we use here at the office comes through me. She's gonna send me a copy of the rough draft before, and I have to
So you
approve
just
it.
see mine here.
Yeah, I approve it before it goes any further. And annual, biannually, I guess, when your license comes up for renewal, I Google you. I'm just gonna Google you and I put your name, real estate or realtor, Houston, and just see what comes up. And if I see things that are not compliant, I'm gonna send you a letter with the links to it so you can correct it. Sometimes I'll send you the letter and I get back, I didn't even know that was out there still. It's something we did a long time ago and it's still floating. If you get a Trek complaint, the first thing Trek does is Google you. And they look at all your websites and everything to make sure you are compliant with their advertising rules. With the IABS, make sure it is complete. Everything that's on those bottom contact has to be there. So brokerage, broker of record, my name, since I'm a licensed supervisor, and then your contact information. Completely filled out. Too often I find IABSs without the sales agent. So I remind you, use the one through HAR. They're working too hard. Must be IABS and consumer protection notice must be prominently displayed and spelled out 12 font or larger.
I have a question. So when, how do you know, like, if you have a DBA, if you've already registered with TREC? If we go onto the site and put the name, it should come up,
It should come up,
or should it come up under your name?
it's gonna come under KW, so if you,
Oh, okay.
I'll show you real quick since you asked. Right. Here are the DBAs for the office. So any of the names here are names that can be used for KW. And then all the team names are under there. Yeah, and it's alphabetical, so
Oh, you know that.
our realty group.
Okay.
It's nice.
I got nervous when you said you were gonna Google, it's like, uh-oh.
First thing I'm gonna do later is.
I know, right? Go. I never read that
See,
one.
that's
That's
it.
it.
I don't like this picture.
Right, look at your picture.
Come on, let me change my picture, don't make me do that.
And the brokerage has 10 days when somebody leaves to remove it from here. Can you use Realtor as part of your website domain name? No. It must be in contact and connection with your personal name. Now, my website is mitchramey.com. I can have mitchrameyrealtor.com. You can't have Houston, biggest realtor. There was an agent in up in the Panhandle years ago. It was a story I was told. She was advertising as the biggest realtor in the Panhandle. Yeah, well, that makes you think she's the top producer. No, she was the fattest.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, and they came down on her saying, no, that's
That's
misleading.
right, yeah.
This one here, you see it violated a lot. And this is not something Trek's gonna go after you for, but the association can because it's a copyrighted name. Right, when you wanna find the IABS and consumer protection notice, you're gonna sign into HAR. Go to your account. Which is gonna give you this drop down information about brokerage services. When that opens, it shows you on this side. So here's the copy the URL. You can click here and it'll give you hard copy of it, so you can print it out.
I have a question on that. For social media posts, so let's say for instance, on Instagram. When I'm sending something out, that I guess needs to be a link for them to see, or how does that work when it comes to me advertising something for social media?
It has to be on the page. So on your home page, the about page, you have to have it on there, a link on there.
So I can change it.
Yeah.
I don't believe I have.
I think Brandon uses Linktree.
Yeah,
Right,
he helped me set mine up.
right, so I have links for that, so that's what I did, like.
You need to make sure
Brandon was
that
back with me, he showed me to link it to my link tree,
Right.
and then my link tree is on all of my social media.
So that's what I did, so I don't have to, so once I do link tree, I don't have to manually go to Facebook, it automatically connects it to.
yeah, you have your Linktree
Yeah, I have a link tree.
and Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, so it's no.
That's it.
Just.
Okay, so I thought I had to go.
And I'm sure he probably used this URL.
Right.
So if it changes automatically for us. Uh-huh. Well, while we're on that, when do you have to give the IAVS?
What's the other?
When you have that continuity.
First, substantial communication.
Hello and.
Hello and.
So I have a question, so today, I just came back from Home Depot. And I ran into a very nice in a long time. And she said that she's selling her house, and she needs to buy for rent. It's like, give her a card.
Mhm.
Do I need to send her an yes for that?
I wouldn't consider that a substantial conversation. When you actually start talking about the details of selling her home
Right,
or buying a new home, then you would send it. But if you have to ask, yeah. It's just like the closures. You have to keep them for 4 years, even if they never become your client. If you start having a serious conversation, you have to keep them for 4 years.
I was
You can
thinking,
minimize that.
What's that?
There is a minimize button there.
Oh, this one. I like being able to see them, but I don't like when it takes up the whole screen. All right, geographical competency. Track says that we are licensed to sell property in the state of Texas. The track also says that the broker has to establish geographical competency. This brokerage, our broker has decided that you should be competent in Harris County and the counties that touch Harris County. So Fort Bend, Missouri, Galveston, Chambers, Montgomery, Liberty, and Waller. We're kind of leaving it up to you, though, to decide, are you geographically competent in these areas? Can you tell me which one of these counties are in a subsidence district? That's a public material fact that affects somebody who's purchasing a home. So you're not competent to sell in any of these areas. It's Harris, Fort Bend, and Galveston are in subsidence districts.
what was that question again?
Which of these are in a subsidence district?
So what is subsidence, or what are we saying when we say subsidence?
That means that the area has been using the groundwater and our elevations dropped. So of course, if your elevations drop, then we're only 75 feet above sea level. What does that mean? Flood. Yeah, more floods. Yeah, and that's public information. And if you use the KW moral disclosure, which, you know, it is our duty to always explain any document that you give to somebody, it's on there. It's a nice little reminder to, these are the things I need to let somebody know about.
Can I make a comment on that?
Yeah,
So I was at a presentation from insurance broker from FEMA. Last about 3 weeks ago, and they were basically saying that, which changed my perception of, you know, a lot of buyers say, oh, am I in a flood zone? Am I in a flood zone? Am I in a flood zone? In reality, we are all in a flood zone.
right.
And so I was like, oh, wow, that just, I guess that was a wow factor. I mean, I know that you're in zone X, but you still consider 42 counties around the United States are considered flood, and X is considered a flood zone. So you are, everyone is in a flood area. It's just the level of risk that you're in.
Well, that's the way, yeah, level of risk, okay. Yeah,
But there's no such thing as you're out of the flood zone. Okay.
I know, our house is 74 feet above sea level. At the Galveston, it's at a foot or inches above sea level, it's still a flood. Need to be knowledgeable and competent, informed of local market issues and conditions in the geographical area, what's going on in the nation and the state. Use judgment and skill in performance of brokerage activity and be educated in characteristic for the specific type of broker you're doing. New road construction. You know what's going on, new road construction. The Trek complaint last year, which cost the agent $7,000, plus the civil suit he's in right now, plus what they charged the brokerage. Went from Houston to College Station, sold a residential home. After they moved in, They start tearing up the road behind them and expanding it, I think, from 2 to 4 lanes right up to their property line. Well, they went back to the broker complaining about this, why didn't you tell us? And the agent's comment was, well, I didn't know. They filed a trick complaint, it had had public hearings for 5 years.
So how did you? So I'm in a situation, I'm not in violation, but, right, I have to make sure I say that. There's a property over there in Mandan, and, it's a referral. To a friend, and they are looking to move from California there to buy some farmland. Gentleman that was out there kind of, and he's a relative of the people that's trying to sell, was saying that there's a road that we get ready to build through that area, that farmland area. How would I be able to find out information on that? Because it's hearsay from what he said, but I would like to
I'll start out with TechStop.
text them.
Yeah, and there's a link in there for future development, and I believe you can do it by county. I was looking at something up in San Marcos. And it even showed the future, what the
Right.
future plans are on it. TechStop's a good place to start.
Okay. Yeah, because it confused me, and I was like, oh, wow, that makes I'm trying to go up, but at the end of the day, we didn't know that time frame when they actually gonna start.
You don't know what eminent domain they may be using.
I know.
Fort Bend County, they're doing 36 and they claimed eminent domain for miles.
Right.
Agricultural exemption, what do you have to have for an agricultural exemption?
Horses. Like the cow land.
Number of acres.
Depends on the county. Some counties say 1 horse per 2 acres or fruit trees, but it's all depends on the county. If that's something that's important to someone, you may not know it right off the top of your head, but you know where to go find it.
I tell them where to go, I don't tell them, I tell
Oh,
them, you
yeah.
need to go
Source
call
of
the
the
county.
source.
Yeah, I'll call the county and I give them the phone number, but no. Cause you're right, it varies, and then they changed it recently, so it didn't.
School districts. Right now, they're redoing school districts and schools.
Doing different routes,
Uh-huh.
so.
So you want to be the source of the source. If there's anything that's public going on, no one. What's been happening? TechStop's great. The CAD is great. Title companies are great. Appraisers.
TS.dot.gov.
When I was taking the broker responsibility course, one broker has a form, a Google form. So if someone asks to work outside of their market area, that Google form is sent to them and they have 15 minutes to complete it. And it's gonna ask, what are the high schools, what are the schools, what are the mascots, what are the local title companies with contact information?
Well,
Oh, yeah, be serious.
well, why do we need to know the next guy?
Because it shows that you know the year. Yeah, one broker said, he asked, where's the local Dairy Queen? If you're in Texas, there's always a Dairy Queen.
Houston, you have to go far.
Yeah, Houston, we may have to drive a little while.
That's not fair. I'm sorry,
Well,
that's
he was-
not fair, because I don't even know where my Dairy Queen is, and that's.
They're not like nobody.
Two of them.
He was more in a smaller. area.
Yeah.
In Houston, yeah, in Houston, you're not gonna know.
Yeah,
expect to know
like
that.
that.
I thought it was a great question,
Right
yeah.
away.
Yeah, where I went to high school in Central Texas, yeah, I worked at Dairy Queen, I knew exactly where Dairy Queen was.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just knowing what's going on, what's happening right now with real estate.
Well, prices are going up.
Interest rates, yeah.
Right, and also, prices. I think it's they're gonna drop from what, $250,000 almost in prices?
Wow, well, are we in a buyer's or seller's market?
Right now, we're still in the selling market, but it's switching to a buyer's market, yes. Right?
I don't know about that.
No, because.
I think we're staying in the seller's market for a while. But of course, what's the answer to that question? Where? Cause you know, some
I
areas.
was
you
just
can
gonna
do
ask you,
seven.
where are they being dropped by 200,000? Tell me.
Yeah.
Oh, no, so you guys,
Yeah.
some places out there in the Woodland, purchase the drops. But they say collectively all the way around baseline, on average, they have drops, like 250,000.
Cause it's all local.
But practically, it's a balanced market right now. Don't you think? Because it's,
I just know what I looked up this morning, I think it was for Fort Payne County, months of inventory was 3.7.
by
Yeah.
definition, but
Yeah,
I would have to say it's local. I would have to say it's where you're buying, because I'm struggling with the Sugar Land buyer in the 800,000 price range, and I mean, every time we've made 3 different offers, and they're all gone in less than 24 hours, multiple, and we've lost every single one.
in that price range.
Yes.
That's, but I need to read something that people are pulling out deals like extreme highs right now, people are pulling out deals.
So I think it's just location.
Mhm. That's,
Definitely location.
that's geographical competency. And what is Gary saying? Go small to go big. Be in that area expert, knowing everything. Anyone familiar with Pecan Grove in Fort Payne County?
Mhm.
There's an agent, she's retired now, but she knew that inside out. You could give her an address and she would know who the builder was, approximately when it was built, if it ever flooded, if that area has had foundation issues. She knew it. She was the agent for Pecan Grove.
What would be great is like a know your market kind of class or like a questionnaire that we can have, that there's a particular market that we're wanting to get into, it's like, this is how you educate yourself. These are the things that you should know about that particular area.
Questionnaire would be great.
Yeah.
There's also the barrier, because somebody can say, where's the nearest Dairy Queen?
Exactly, but basically, but if you make a you can say, no, there's no Dairy Queen,
Right.
you have to go out of this city limits.
Correct.
Right answer.
Healthcare facilities. Local. Do y'all use RPR?
Yes.
That'll tell you, you can look in there and it'll tell you what's available, and it'll tell you what is needed. Where we were living for years, it needed more liquor stores. Yeah, we got a couple now. Yes, it'll tell you the Chinese industry that's needed, is our shops that are needed.
Really?
So one trick that I use is I follow Starbucks.
Oh.
And that's something that Milton told me a couple years ago. When you see a Starbucks coming up, that's what you need to keep your eye on, because Starbucks doesn't open just everywhere. They're due their study, and I'm sure their study is,
Oh, yeah.
experts and thousands and thousands.
And then, them internet bridge.
So Starbucks shows development.
I feel like matches pops up everywhere.
Yeah. He's actually trying to compete against Mattress Man.
Oh,
So, but yeah, but the Starbucks shows more of,
Demographic based on who's.
exactly, residential and, right, because it's not everyone that is going to pay, right, $3 for a cup of coffee. And so, exactly, so they open and they bring it where they know that there is going to be purchase for that.
That's very
So
true.
they know.
Did everybody online catch that? To watch Starbucks. Where they're coming in.
Yep.
What happens if you're going to build or remodel in Harris County? Based on the floodplain?
Gotta know which permits, how high you guys built.
Yep, they changed that after the last hurricane. It was for the city, then it's for the entire county. HAR provided us with a form that educates them. Is there zoning? Can unimproved property turn into anything? PIDs, those are so important. HAR is a great resource. They've had a group that has been looking at all of our service area and trying to pull those PIDs together, and it's now on the MLS. If you happen to run into one that's not, let HAR know and they're gonna do the research for us. Exempt status, and being familiar with rollback taxes, they're more familiar with rollback taxes if you're selling property.
Well, does that have to do with like land, like farmland?
There's a title company that is having, I think that's Frontier that is having a class on rollback taxes on land.
Awesome.
I think that is very good
Mhm.
as a refresher or as a learning tool. I think it's Frontier, the one having it. Yeah.
Okay. That's great. Yeah, watching for those things, knowing that if you're gonna be dealing with land and they may be changing the usage of the land, they could be affected by rollback taxes. Water districts, that has to be disclosed per the legislature. This is a website you can go to and you put in the address and it has overlays, and it'll show you if it's in a water district. Water district is not just a mud. But you have to disclose a mud, a lid, a pit, a PUD, a WCID. Yeah, a tip, treats.
It's tips and buzzes.
Yeah, there's a lot of them you have to disclose. So this is a really great website. You can use.
And so on the MLS for PIDs, cause there is a section that says PID.
Yes,
If it's not marked, that means it's
it's
not.
not it. Okay. I always check the tax rate.
The tax rate goes like.
Double check,
Okay.
yeah, not all the time. I won't tell you all the time if it's in a pit, but 99% of the times it's probably gonna show you. Are you a member of the local board? You're working outside, all the counties we're in, it's on HAR. If you're going outside of that, you have to get written permission from the broker first off. And then you need to join the local board. And the broker has to be a member of that local board. How are you gonna do your comps? If you're not a member, how are you gonna open a door if you're not a member of the local board? Clear cooperation. This was agreed on with NAR a couple of years ago, and it was aimed at pocket listings. So if we are publicly marketing a property, it must be on the MLS within 1 business day. So you have a listing agreement, you have to have a listing agreement before you can do any type of marketing. If you put a sign in the front yard, 1 business day to have it on the MLS. Now, our MLS has the coming soon. So you can have it on there, and then it's seen by all the members of the MLS, but it's not on HAR.com. Everyone understands the difference between HAR.com and the MLS. MLS is what we use as agents. You have to have a sign in the front. HAR.com is the public facing of the MLS. So if it's coming soon, it's gonna be on our side, not on the public side. If the owner starts marketing it like on their social media, that's public marketing. Has to be on the MLS.
Hey Mitch,
Yes,
can you tell us who owns Realtor.com and who owns Homes.com? Are they associated with any MLS?
Realtor.com was actually started by NAR. The group of board members put that together, probably 5, maybe even 10 years ago. Homes.com, I'm not sure who owns that.
Oh, I heard it. Oh, I heard it one time. I forgot. But it's another company. It's like anyway, if I remember, I'll.
Homes.com is owned by CoStar.
CoStar?
That's what I heard. Yes, CoStar.
Oh,
CoStar.
okay. I didn't know that.
Thank you.
Family reunion.
CoStar, do a lot of commercials, don't they, CoStar?
Yeah, CoStar mainly commercial.
But now residential.
Do they do residential?
Well, homes of homes.
Homes.com is residential, right? So any type of public marketing, where people notice this, they'll say, you take the listing and then I'm gonna just let my investors know about it. You don't have a buyer's rep, then those investors is public marketing. This also not only helps us with, according to the rules, but fair housing. Because if I have a listing and I'm not gonna offer it to you because I know the kind of people you hang out with. But I'll offer it to you and you, but not those guys. So am I violating fair housing? Well, does it look like I am? Well, then I am. So this also protects you with that, having it on clear cooperation, having it coming soon.
So that's, and we put this link or that statement where,
You don't have to put it anywhere,
okay,
no, but it is on our listing agreements.
so.
When it's coming soon, it can be on there for up to 21 days. You do not have to have pictures, but I have noticed lately that they will send you a correction notice that you don't have to have the that you're missing pictures. You have to have X number depending on the type of transaction when it goes live. It'll automatically go to active status after the 21 days. You cannot show the property while it's incoming soon.
So we cannot do any private.
Nope. Mhm.
Huh.
Why are you doing a
I never
private?
did, but I was.
Why are you doing a private showing for him but not me?
So, but I agree with that, but sometimes, like, say for instance, I'm just trying to entice the buyers, I say for instance, and I just say, hey, we don't have the sunset, but the owner decided to allow you to do an exclusive show, right?
Nope.
No.
And how does that relate to, because we can announce it to the brokerage.
So
we
the
have a list.
brokerage.
Well, let's say an agent, the brokerage says, oh.
We
I
can
don't want
show it to
broker
some agent in the brokerage.
Not their
only.
clients.
No, when it's coming soon, no, we didn't. It has to go active.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you show it to an agent, you can't show it to the
Yeah.
client, yeah, okay.
And you're gonna get the best offers when it's shown to everybody. You know, if this person and that person really wanna see this property, well, she may wanna see it in them also, so you may get it.
So I got, we'll just go ahead and explain it to you real quick. So 72 sold, you heard that?
Yes, I know 72 sold.
So I work with that program, right? And so they have this little strategy where 7 days before you put it on the market, you can use the strategy where say, the owner wants to do an exclusive show. This is another way to get like maybe an extra strategy, right?
Yeah.
So are you telling me that strategy should not be used?
It's in violation. Yeah.
Even if I don't put it on the list?
Yeah. Yeah. Public marketing it.
Even if it's just one person?
Even if it's just one person. The biggest thing I worry about that is why didn't you show it to me? Yeah, I wanna see it.
But you don't know nothing about it yet.
I know.
That don't know anything about
I
it.
didn't know me.
It's like a
Well,
pocket, it's like a
It's a pocket listing, and that's where the bad word is.
Exactly, it's not for friends.
Right.
Oh,
Yep.
Right. Oh,
maybe I don't know.
okay.
Intermediary. What is intermediary?
Within the broker, one broker involved, right? Or two brokers. Maybe with one broker.
Same broker, same broker,
Or-
one agent represents the buyer, one agent represents the seller.
That's it. When you have the broker and you have an agent or the broker has a buyer's representation agreement signed. And they have a listing agreement signed. And then it's up to the broker to decide, is this going to be with assignments? So I'm gonna assign one person to the buyer, one person to the listing. Without assignments is you're gonna have one agent who's gonna do the paperwork. Must be in writing, you cannot have implied intermediary. Now, there's 4 forms that we use that refer to intermediary. Do you know what they are? Trivia?
I mean,
I wrote it down.
Yes.
The agreement
Yeah,
What's running there?
wire fraud.
No,
Agreement between brokers.
no. Buyer's representation agreement,
Seller.
listing agreement,
Flood disposal.
nope. And then the intermediary form,
Oh,
Oh, there's an intermediate.
there is an intermediary form.
So let's just say, for example. Maria has a listing, I have a client.
Mhm.
Take my client to go see,
Mhm.
sometimes you see, memorial agents.
Yeah.
Take my client to go see the listing, my client wants that. I'm gonna put in an offer. Then we need to make sure first that on the agreements, intermediary is allowed,
Yes,
and then there's another form to fill out.
yes, you have to do the
And this
intermediary
is prior to the offer.
prior to showing. Best practices prior to
Prior to
showing.
showing, okay.
Yeah, you don't wanna show it and go to make an offer and then,
Yeah, then
I'm
they
sorry,
can't
we
do
don't
it.
accept the intermediary.
And this I was thinking about on.
No, we haven't.
Fairlands. What client doesn't want you to have intermediary? What would be the reason?
It has happened. The last one, it was kind of a bizarre, it was an estate sale. And one sister didn't wanna sell the house, so she was saying no intermediary.
She's trying to make it harder.
She was making it hard.
Okay, cause that's, I would think it'd make it harder, cause you're limiting.
And we've had them come right up to sign an intermediary form, and they're like, well, they didn't really understand it, and like, well. Y'all two are in the same office, y'all are gonna be talking. They didn't want intermediary, so they move on to the other property.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so anytime I see memorial agent, I need to call them first,
Yeah.
say,
You could go ahead and do that form, have it signed by your buyers, and then send it over to the listing agent when you're gonna make an offer before you start any type of.
even
You can't-
before the showing.
I
Maybe do
mean,
the showing
it's
first.
not before showing, because if your client's not interested, they
Yeah,
can
It's
go
not-
anywhere.
Yeah,
before you call me and say, do you have any offers on this property, are they
yeah,
steadfast on this price, that's starting negotiations, you need to
so
have.
then
that
that's when
meeting.
you're gonna start, okay.
We do not do intermediary without assignments at this office unless you have written permission. Once you do intermediary without assignments, then Carlos can give no advice to the seller he's been working with, or that buyer that he knows. So when they ask, what do you put under option period? You read the paragraph. That seller
Okay,
you've been
so
working with.
that's really my concern. And that's why I'm sitting here today. Because with all these changes that are coming up, right? So let's say I have a listing, and then I have a buyer that comes in and says, I don't have an agent, I don't want an agent,
Okay,
okay? So I don't wanna represent that buyer,
right,
but that buyer doesn't want an agent, and he wants to buy my seller's home.
okay,
Alright, so then the first thing I do, I know, IDX.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what?
you're going to.
I want to, what, intermediary?
No, because they don't wanna be represented,
Right, but then they
There's a-
start asking questions.
they're a
Oh, what do you
customer.
think about this? What do you think about that?
they're a customer,
They're
and
customers.
all you can say is, I don't represent you, I cannot give you that advice. If you'd like to work with an agent, I can give you a few to choose from.
Because as a customer, I can just give you perfect information, but I can't give you.
You
advice
can
on
give
that.
them material facts.
Yes, sure.
Yep, you can't give them anything that doesn't support the seller.
Right, so like,
That's where
what
it
do you,
gets sticky.
exactly, it does get sticky, because what do you think about the price? Oh, can you know, CMA, I can't give any of that.
You can give them the same CMA you gave the sellers. So the one that supports the sales price, you
Or
can,
I can't.
yeah, it's in the listing agreement that you will give it, but you can give it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so yeah, I'm listening agreement, yes.
The listing agreement says
Right,
that
yeah,
you,
I-
if asked, you can give it.
Right.
That's about it. And then
That's
they, okay, so what about the contract? I write the contract?
You
What do
can,
I put in those blanks?
you can give it to them to write the contract, so it is a public document, anybody can use it. Or you can have your seller write it and present it to that buyer.
Oh, like, okay. Okay, so let's say I tell the seller, you have to fill out the contract.
Yeah, you can
Okay, and then my
advise the
seller's
seller.
gonna say, what?
Yeah.
Why? I don't wanna do that because I don't know how. So then I go to the buyer and say, you have to
No,
submit
you
your own.
can, you represent the seller, so you can give them advice on every paragraph in the contract. And then you give that over to the buyer and say, please review this, if you agree to it, initial and sign.
Right, but he says, I can fill that out, I can fill that out with my seller's
With your-
authorization to fill in the forms, like the option period, how much to pay, how much to put,
Everything.
everything.
Everything. Or otherwise you hand it to that buyer who's not represented. Fill this out. They ask you a question about something, you read the paragraph to them.
Really pretty slow.
And when you do something like that, I know the times I,
It's so sticky, that is so.
yeah, you can't give advice.
But not for you as an agent though, right? Because you're,
As a listing agent, if they don't wanna be represented, then put you in
Not
the,
surprising. Yeah, we'll probably be getting more of that.
yeah,
but that doesn't provide a liability though, right?
No, as long as you're doing your fiduciary to
Yeah,
your
it's
seller.
more of a liability for the buyer,
Yeah.
the represented buyer, right? Just kind of, unless they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They
And
can
you
sign something
document.
you know,
You offered representation, they said no, you do the disclosure of relationship. I even like a follow-up email showing that. Recommend it. People don't wanna, some people are not gonna want to pay.
Right.
And they're gonna be at disadvantage.
yeah.
Mhm. Right. Any questions about intermediary?
So explain that to me again, the definition of intermediary is when there is one group assigning a seller agent and a buyer.
Well, one broker with a signed listing agreement and a buyer's representation agreement. Where it gets sticky is when you've got the listing agent who also has a buyer who's interested in your listing.
yes,
Yeah, then we like to assign the buyer to someone.
And is that up to the listing agents? to make
no,
those
no, it's
sign
up
it?
to the buyer.
Or you have to-
It's up to the buyer,
Well,
so you're.
what I meant to say was like, for her to say, here's a recommendation, I can give you some names
Yeah.
of some agents.
Yeah.
Or just she needs to have the brokerage send that information.
She can send it out, we
Okay.
approve that, and then it's kind of, they that make the decision who they want to
What if
represent.
the buyer doesn't want to be moved and neither does the seller?
You're still making.
Then you just let them know that is the broker policy, I can't represent both sides, and I can't. It's not fair
It's a
to
dual agency, right? If I represent, if
Well,
I'm the agent for the buyer and the seller on the same.
intermediary without assignments if you don't have.
So now I represent no one.
Yeah, now you represent no one. Yeah, a lot of times it's
I'm
just.
sorry, was, slow down.
Almost like a board.
I know, right? So, okay, so like Mel just said. The seller doesn't wanna. And then the buyer does it, so I cannot
Well,
do both.
You could, but that's when you explain to them, from this point on, I can't give you any advice. So I can't tell you what to or what to offer, I can't tell you what to accept, I can't tell you what's common for option days, I can't give you any of that advice. And, we've been working together for a while, I don't feel that's my fiduciary to you. But we do have several really good agents who are gonna put your interests above. So I recommend you go ahead and talk to them and we can move forward. And if they absolutely say no, you understand. From this point, no advice.
It's like I have two teams that I said, I love them both, again.
Right, yeah.
You have the-
We normally go with,
dating.
yeah, normally we go with you keeping the listing and
Yeah,
the
and
buyer
then we pass the fire.
for the buyer.
That's how.
Yeah, it does happen, it has happened.
Yes.
And you can't do. Actually, I think I'm gonna use this question. I might ask you, but I think I'm gonna use this question. I can't get a referral fee for sending that buyer over to another agent.
Yes, you can.
Oh, we better.
As long as it's their choice, let them have the choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Exterior.
Okay.
Okay? Any other questions about intermediary? It's fun. Agency 101. So with the IABS, it's an introduction. Tells you exactly what intermediary here is. Listed agreement is the seller saying, yeah, if it comes up, I'm gonna entertain it. Same thing with the buyer's representation agreement. And then the intermediary relationship notice is, yes, we're going into this. You understand the broker will give no advice to either side. They cannot give any information unless you give it to permission in writing. I can't tell you, well, you know. Again, and right here, listing agents, do not confuse a prospect or a customer. That's gonna be someone's unrepresented. It happens pretty regularly, especially with investors. They've done it so many times, they don't want an agent. If you're the listing agent and you have a prospect or a customer, what happens to the compensation that's in paragraph 5A? Doesn't change. It doesn't change. The agreement is between us and the agent or the seller, and we've already agreed to X amount.
Right.
We're saying we'll give the other to, if there is one, but if there's not, it's still ours.
So Mitch, I went through a situation where we were gonna take the listing, but now they say they have an investor, so they wanna go to the compensation agreement. And the son has been helping the elderly mother along the way. The investor is the son's best friend, and now they wanna go in together. And he's been giving his mom pricing advice to take her house for 62,000 less than what it's worth. And his dad just got like, these are horrible people, and they say they don't know, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to show
I
up.
need a diagram.
Yeah.
Do we have a listing agreement?
No, we have a listed appointment.
Okay.
So that was the person that she said, my son will be at the listed appointment. They've been meeting, been doing all the work. Agree on the price at $350. It could be up to $365, 100% paid off. And now,
Yeah, if they've already agreed on everything, then we could do the agreement between broker and owner. That states we will represent the seller only with the prospect. It's basically for that one.
how would you tell the mom, this is probably bad, how would you tell the mom that your son, if he's gonna be with the investor, he can't be explaining stuff between you and you as well?
You gonna dance? You gonna tiptoe? Do a really good CNA?
Bring you some cake.
Oh my goodness.
Do a really awesome CMA to show them this is what your home, this is the market value for your home. If we put this on the market, this is where you could possibly.
And the agent is scared because we just talked so candidly with the mom and her son, and now at the end of the appointment, when we're, the documents, he's like, yeah, but I'm gonna be on that investor. Me and that investor are friends, and we're gonna nominate the
He
officer.
doesn't own the house at all.
No, the mom owns, no, he doesn't,
100% the mom's.
100% the mom.
You've got a challenge.
I just wanna punch him. How could you do this to your mom?
Well, he must be this.
This could hard the time.
What has
Alright.
changed? Oh, wow.
This is what's changed with the settlement. Okay, we have a slew of new forms. If you have a listing agreement at the moment, it's not under contract, it's not gonna be under contract by August 17th. Then you must do an amendment to the listing agreement. It will, in that new amendment, you're just pretty much taking what's already on the listing agreement in paragraph 5 and paragraph 8, and it's been moved to paragraph 5. So you're gonna put, they're offering X amount to the listing agent. Of the X amount, how much is the seller offering to the buyer's agent? Not much else has changed when it comes to that, it's just the form and where they are. If you have a buyer's representation agreement.
Sorry,
there-
can I stop you there for a minute?
Yeah, sure.
Because I just read that EXP is not going to do the full broker.
Yeah.
So on that form, you said what the seller is offering the buyer's agent.
Mhm.
But it's going to be in a form of a credit for the buyer to pay their agent.
It's
Not
gonna be
from the
seller's
broker going
contributions,
to that buyer broker.
seller's contributions,
So it's gonna be seller's contribution.
yeah.
But there's also the possibility for the seller to agree. Or let's say for my broker to pay the other broker, that's still in place, that hasn't gone away.
No, that's still there.
Yeah, the broker's better.
We just want to advertise really less.
Why am I not getting this?
We want to call, they said compensation, concession, and commission are not the same. Word.
Sounds like-
No, contribution, commission, and concession are not the same thing. And those that we try to use them interchangeably, then it's.
That's, I'm confused,
They
because
are.
for me, concession. Is the same as as a contribution.
It is concession and contribution.
Yes.
Concession, contribution,
Yeah, that's gonna be in paragraph 12 of the contract.
But the lender says how much contribution.
They use the language.
They can have.
That language they use.
Yeah. And that's on the lending side.
Mhm.
So they're supposed to be working on that so that,
So then the lender determines through contribution, the lender determines the concession.
and
So the
then,
way to put
Approved.
together, approve the concession.
that hasn't changed.
Okay.
It's just how it
Word.
can be applied is what is up to the lender.
And before we get too far off of it, you said if I'm not under contract by August 17, I don't have to be closed by August 17.
No, under contract, because
Okay.
everything's already set, when it's under contract, it's gonna go with whatever's on there.
okay, what about, I'm sorry, what about new builds, cause I have 3 new builds that are closing after August 17th.
Are they on the MLS?
No, they're new builds, they're being built.
I'll be under contract.
Yeah, I'll have them under
Oh.
contract,
Nothing,
is there anything I need to do on that end?
no,
No,
and
okay,
they're not on the MLS, so all
No, no.
compensation is gonna be in the builder's contract,
correct,
yeah,
and
Nothing.
that is not gonna change.
not gonna change.
Cause builders can advertise what they're getting.
They're not available.
So they're not.
A sales agent can advertise what they're giving, anyone can advertise what they're giving, just can't be on the MLS.
Oh, not on MLS.
Oops, what is that?
Not on MLS. Not builders, not brokers, none of us can go to MLS.
Did you see EXP's listing agreement?
They make their own.
They changed it because they're not gonna do four.
That, I've
Why
heard
would they
that
just
from,
say, why would they just click the box that says no co-op?
Well, they,
I would make a whole new form, but the form allows for with.
Yeah.
Without.
there is a broker. Different things I've been on there, recommend the seller don't offer compensation,
yeah,
and you negotiate it when you get a
I'm
contract,
okay with that.
yeah.
I'm sorry, what was that again? Don't offer commission until.
Yeah, some brokers are saying not to, so not to upfront offer it, you base it on the offer you get. So if I get, someone sends me an offer, it's full price, they want me to pay buyer's compensation, then negotiate it.
I like the new arena that's about to come about, because it's a lot of transparency and you really have to speak what you're trying to do, so there's no surprise in the situations.
Yeah.
No, is that-
Well, I
agree with Maria.
yeah, let me just,
There's issues that could arise.
yes,
Okay.
thank
You
you.
know,
Like,
like to,
security, like, anything.
Like going in there and telling the seller, okay, I charge, I don't know, 5%,
Mhm.
4%, and then the buyer agent comes in, brings your buyer. And you're like, nope, we're not paying you anything,
Yeah.
and then you go to the table and you make it happen for your buyer, and they're coming with 3,000 and the listing agent is getting
which is perfectly fine, if you can negotiate with your seller
Exactly.
for that.
Exactly.
Where my concern is my seller is offering compensation. But when I see your name, it's like, no.
Exactly. Thank
Those
you.
are- Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
There's no, it's not out there. Joseph, okay.
Thank you.
I agree,
But still, it's.
I agree, and when they
Yeah.
brought it up, you know what the response was? We're relying on the code of ethics.
Oh,
All right, so this is the amendment to listing. If you're not under contract, you're gonna fill this out. So in C, TXR 11 or 1201, 1101 or 1201, which is the listing agreement or the lease listing agreement. Broker's fee is changed to paragraph 5A1, and this is where the seller is offering compensation to the buyer. You're gonna fill this out. So is it a percentage? Is it a flat fee? Is it gonna be an adjustable fee? And then you're gonna fill out D also. So of this amount here, and this hasn't changed. Of this amount, how much is being offered to the buyer? So if you have 8% here. You're gonna offer 4% to the buyer's agent, 4% goes there.
It's the same as,
So 4% from the next is, the can be less or.
It can be anything they want. It can be anything that the seller wants. We need to be able to explain the benefits of having a buyer's agent.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of benefits that go to the seller by having a buyer's agent.
Contract knowledge, all this.
Now, 5B says I'm not getting commission, right?
5B is only, Mr. Seller, I'm only offering compensation to the listing broker. Whatever your fee is, that's yours to negotiate. Okay? Basically, this is paragraph from the old, this is paragraph 5 and this is paragraph 8.
Yep.
From the old listing agreement. It's just been all put up into paragraph 5.
and it's included in the new.
And this is just what it looks like on the new contract.
Sure.
Okay, good.
Boxes and all.
Boxes and all.
I'm here for one form and one form only.
Buyer's representation. Amendment to buyer tenant representation agreement. Part of the settlement also is we had to have it bold. That compensation was never set and it's always negotiable. So that
Yes.
was moved up to book. You got a buyer, you're not in the contract. Amendment to the buyer's representation. Does it look pretty familiar?
Yeah.
Okay, on or about, Amendment 2 is the buyer's representation agreement. When's this effective? August 16th, basically. That's when it's coming off right more or less. For 1507 only, we do not like that form. I've been arguing with people, but yeah, I like that form. We ain't talking about it. D, is 1501 or 1507. Broker's fee in 7A are changed to. If they purchase a property, what percentage is it or flat fee? If they lease a property, what percentage or flat fee? Bonuses. You can only charge what is on your buyer's representation agreement. No more. You can't receive anything more than what's on the buyer's representation agreement, or they say in writing. But we have builders who may be offering a BTSA. You put the BTSA here. It has to be specific.
You have to put the amount,
The amount, yes.
and then we just put a projected amount.
No, it has to be an amount.
Exactly.
Normally, this
I
when
see.
for August 16th, don't worry about this one here right now.
Okay.
This is what we're gonna fill out. And when you get under contract, let's say you're doing new construction and they're offering that much, then you would fill out everything except this in here. So you would be asking that buyer, this builder is offering a 3,000 BTSA. Do you give me permission to select that?
Right.
Yeah. Well,
They gonna say no. They gonna say I
they
will.
can say no,
But then what does that mean?
that nobody gets the bonus. They may also negotiate, okay, well, half of it once you put towards my closing costs.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it has to be in writing.
None of us get it, go home. That's so crazy. You get these builders that at the end of the year, they're doing 3% of sale price.
Mm-hmm.
Sale price can be like 334,192 after they add some stupid upgrade. And I had only put like. Could we had just,
On your buyer's rep,
this has to be an amendment then.
it'd have to be in.
It would have to be an amendment once I know the exact number of what it is. It can't be something I can do in advance.
Right. And you're letting, with your buyers, you're letting them know if you have 2% here. And that seller's only, or you have 4% and the seller's offering 2%. Mr. Buyer, you understand, you are responsible for the other 2%. Now, if you're taking, you have 2% on your buyer's rep and they're offering 4%, you can only accept 2% without getting it in writing to change it.
They said it again, I don't know. So-
Let's say I did the buyer's rep with you and we negotiated, I'll get 2% total sales price. But then I take you to a seller and the seller's offering 4%. I can only accept 2% until you give me in writing that I can accept the 4%.
But what do I do then if that buyer says, we have an agreement for 4% and I'm only getting 2 and you owe me the other 2, am I gonna sue them for the other 2?
It's gonna be collected at closing. They're gonna have to bring it to closing.
What if they don't have it?
Well, then they're gonna move on to another house.
Dang, for real?
For real. Or you're gonna have to, in writing, agree to cut your compensation.
And that would be my conversation to the buyer. If at closing, if we find out the property doesn't
Hopefully,
pay,
you know, way beforehand.
yeah, but if they offer me 4%, we'll amend it in my favor. If they're not, I would be open to amend it in your favor.
Yeah, I would qualify that.
I'm so mad.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Right, that's tough, right? So,
That was,
If I have a buyer's rep with you, it's 4%,
um,
and that's what you owe me. Seller is only offering 2%. You understand, when you purchase this home, the extra 2% you're gonna have to bring to closing.
In the past, I just ate it if it was less.
Yeah,
Not anymore.
you can still do that, you would just have to amend.
And that would be my conversation to them. If the builder's offering a bonus, we'll amend it in my favor. If they're offering less, we'll amend it to where it does not penalize you.
I would qualify.
And qualify.
Yeah, that's even gonna be hard because it has to be specific.
Oh.
You
okay.
see what I'm saying?
Okay, now I'm getting it. So if my rent agreement has 3%
Mhm.
and I go to a home and they only pay 2.
Yep.
I still have to amend that?
No, at closing, they have to pay 1%.
yeah,
So
the
you-
buyer-
Right, if I don't want,
Yeah,
right,
you
if I'm
don't-
telling my buyer that it's like she says, it's
Yeah,
gonna,
this is what we agreed to,
so then we're
1%.
gonna amend that.
So the.
You only have to,
Show that
you
it's
only
only
have,
2, that you're not responsible for that extra.
yes, that's when you would amend it, is when you're saying, I'm not gonna take that extra 1%.
Right, but I don't, if I'm eating, you ain't, you don't pay, I'm not just
Right.
splitting it.
Yeah.
Right,
I'm not paying you to work for you.
Well, I can only.
but you're also not working for free, you have to set
Exactly.
your standard and what you're worth.
Because it's a very upfront conversation.
It varies from-
This is how we're gonna do it in these situations.
In these
But
situations,
there's also the possibility that we're not even looking at percentage.
At all.
It could be a
That
flat
we're
rate.
looking, I mean, because
Yeah.
there could be some flat rates out there.
there's an agent in this office that flat out told me that he is taking away commission and that he is offering flat. No, no.
Moving on now.
You wish it hurt.
But, you know, he's like, no, you can, and he was suggesting that, you know, I do a. I don't know, like a
ABC
table,
or D, yeah.
like a table, I'm like, table,
I've heard of different things, there was someone talking about 5,000 flat fee.
Yeah,
I will show you 5 houses
as your buyer agent.
as your buyer's agent, negotiate everything for you. If you do not find a home in those 5,
It's another buyer.
it'll be another 5,000 for the next 5. Oh.
that is
So this is
so,
gonna create the gap
That
between
is-
the first time buyers.
What we're about to do is make a mess, we're about to make a whole mess.
you know what, if I was a buyer, because I always put myself in my client's position. And if I was a buyer and you come to me and say, okay, I have your best interest, but I'm just gonna show you 5 homes. Because I'm only gonna get paid $5,000, to me, right there, that's a red flag, you're not looking after my interest, you're looking at your pocket. That's how I would look at it, that would be my reaction as a buyer.
And I would address that client and tell them, is it fair that for me to be in business to help you back maybe stay in business? I just went from making 3% to now making 1%. I'm going to have to make some type of adjustments to stay in business, which is in your best interest
You have
and in
to
mine.
Right,
be able to sell your value.
Absolutely.
So they know that my value is this, and this is what I'm gonna bring to the table.
and that has to be percentage, because flat fee,
No, that's.
People have said also,
I mean, flat fee, I think.
Las Vegas already doing it.
do a retainer. Lawyers do it all the time.
Right.
Okay. So this here is for your buyer's rep, and then into the buyer's representation agreement.
Las Vegas.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Are you gonna look at the compensation agreement that one?
Yeah, I was just trying to remember what number it is.
It's in the 24s.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Compensation agreement between broker and owner.
That one's still good.
This one here is pretty much what we had.
That's the same as the registration between broker and owner.
Yes, they just changed it to compensation.
Which is smarter, instead of registering.
Compensation agreement between brokers.
Ooh, that's the one.
All right.
I'm here for that. That's why I'm in here right now.
Thank you. I'm presently working on a cheat sheet.
We need one. You want me to do it?
I already got started. Okay, now, I'm a buyer's agent.
Okay,
I contact Maria and say, is your seller offering compensation?
yes.
She says, yes. I can send this form over to you. You're the principal, we're the cooperating broker, address, registration. Cooperating broker registers Mr. and Mrs. Smith. This agreement begins on. Don't like this, just like Bill said. I would put the date that you're contacting them in maybe 6 months, how long you think it's gonna last. And then when earned and payable, listing broker will pay cooperating broker X amount. This is getting it in writing when I just talked to you before.
And you wait, to you, as the buyer's agent, I'm sending this to the listing agent, right?
You're sending it to a listing agent.
And then I call Mary Ann and say, she says, okay, I'll offer 3%. I fill out 3%, while I let her fill out.
You fill out 3%.
let her sign it.
Okay.
So as a listing agent, I have 10 people calling me.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have 10 of those forms.
That's right.
Yes. Or
More homework.
maybe you put it in the house.
Say it again.
Or you leave the.
Maybe you
form
put it, the form in the house.
Cause you can't put it in attachments.
No, can't put it in
Don't
attachments.
do that.
You can have it on your website. Someone suggested having it in the house.
What do you
That
mean
was
in the
smart.
house?
When I go to show it,
Well,
you know, on the counter or something, it's sitting there.
Grab a copy, don't call me.
Light bulb
But I already filled out.
already filled out.
Yes, that's, yes.
Mhm. People have talked about putting riders. Will
Oh, yeah.
cooperate with buyer's agents. Buyer's agents welcome. Anything like that, just can't be on the MLS, so it can't be attached, like Bell said, in the attachments.
What about the one that we have in KW Memorial?
KW, yes,
That's it.
yes, I don't know if it accepts attachments yet.
No, it does not accept attachments.
Okay,
But if that home is listed on that site, then it's assumed.
it'll say on there.
That is,
Yeah.
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 And, oh, and it shows the
It is
contact
in
record.
writing. Mhm.
I'm gonna tell you something that they said to us on the military call. They said that buyer agents have been steering, unethically so.
Yeah.
When we look at a property that's paying 3%, we take them there. When we see that it's not, we talk fast, we put at the end of the showing, they get tired, they're in another house, et cetera, et cetera. So unspoken, it's been okay for us to ethically steer, but that is
And
inaccurate.
it's never been
So
ethical.
even, and it was, there's Mitch, I knew he was gonna say it, it's never been ethical. So even if you can do this in other sites, they may be coming for that also. So we will have to put stuff in, they want us to get more tangible than we have been, more transparent, work our butts, all this stuff.
Now, this is the addenda for the broker's fee. So this is an addenda, so it's an attachment to the contract. So property address. Fees, cash fees as specified in this addendum will be paid Harris County. Listing broker shall pay listing. Seller shall pay listing broker the fee specified in the specific separate written representation of the listing agreement. Other broker fees. The listing broker shall pay X% of sales price as contained in a separate written compensation agreement between listing broker and other broker. This is when the seller has said, yes, this lets title know who's paying it. But let's say the the seller did not agree for you to share yours. But in negotiations, the seller says, I will pay it.
That's what that paragraph means?
Yes, this is if in paragraph 5A and B, or 5A, they said, we'll pay the listing broker X%. And of that, X% is going to the buyer's agent.
Okay.
So that would go here. Let's say they did not offer any buyer's compensation. That would go here when you've negotiated with that seller to pay the compensation
Oh
on
my
behalf of the
God.
buyer.
Okay, so
So we say the same thing 3 different ways, 3 different times.
There's one more, so it's actually 4.
Wait, and so that is when I've come to an agreement, or that my seller has come to an agreement on a contract.
Yeah.
And then now we know what the buyer's agent is getting.
Right.
We use that. form.
This is a.
Yeah, this would be
It's an
If the if the seller at the listing said, I will offer 3% to the buyer's agent, you're gonna put that listing broker shall pay 3% of total sales price. All
Why
right,
would I use that form if I already have in my listing agreement and I already have
This
it
is
on
a-
that form in the book?
this
the one we
is
just went over.
this is the addenda to the contract. So this is an attachment to the contract, which is gonna go to title and to the lender.
It's like what the pension with the information of both brokers.
Yes,
at the
but this
bottom.
is signed by the buyers and the sellers.
And if you read all those forms that we went over, it said they're not obligated.
Yeah,
This one,
this
they
is
are.
this is attached to the contract. And remember, since it's an addenda,
I'm not making too much of this.
this will need to be attached in paragraph 22 of the contract.
Oh my God, Mitch.
Really?
Are you
Yes,
kidding
because it is
me?
an addenda to the contract.
And it has to be on there.
Only when the listing agent is gonna pay the buyer's agent, or the seller is going to be paying the buyer's agent.
When they are not, this addendum will not.
Will not be used.
So if I am if my seller says you can call off,
Yes,
I have to fill that
you
out.
have to fill this out, so you need to let the title know how it's gonna be paid. So if your X%, whatever you have is gonna be paid.
And you know, these is if you already know what you're going to give.
Yeah, and then if they have said no, but then while you're negotiating, seller says, okay, they've come in with this offer, I will offer X% to the buyer's agent. And it's gonna go there.
Like if I ask the seller for 12,000 in contributions, which is exactly what I have to pay my
Well, it wouldn't be,
agent, my lender won't allow that, then.
It wouldn't be- yeah, it wouldn't be in the contributions. This is separate.
Right, but they wouldn't
Right.
accept my contributions because my lender won't be can, oh my
Mhm.
God.
Oh.
You see it now? I need to give you an example.
Now
Okay.
it clicked.
Okay.
Now it clicked because then, okay, let me see if I understood this right. So that form says that the seller is paying directly from his proceeds to the buyer broker.
Yes.
It is not part of the contribution from the seller to the buyer to pay his own broker.
Right.
Got you.
But this is also if they've already said they're going to pay it out of, they're already offering 8%,
Right.
they're splitting it. So the 4% would go there, okay?
When are you teaching us again? I don't feel.
And this has to be embedded in.
That's why I have this down.
I'm teaching a lunch sponsor. We're gonna have this.
Exactly.
Because these people are not gonna know what's.
They're not.
Okay, what's the other form?
Right.
$3,700.
2,700 and more bad documents.
Amendment to the representation agreement. This one here, I'm not sure when we were going to use it. Because it says amendment to the representation agreement, but we have two other forms that address an amendment to the representation agreement. So I need to follow up a little bit more on this one.
Because they created a new.
This is a totally new form, but it lists the listing agreement and it lists the buyer's representation agreement. We also have the two other forms.
You said you didn't like TAR, buyer representation agreement. I thought
I
it
don't
was that,
like the short form.
I like the short form
I don't
though.
like the short form, 1507.
Yes, it's like more to the point. This is what I'm charging. This is what I get paid.
But that's not what, that's only what you're charging to open doors. And all you're doing is minimal
And
duty.
can you write an offer?
You can write an offer if you choose to do that. I would not do that.
Yeah. That's like one of those limited listing, I hate those.
What are your minimal duties?
I'm gonna be nicer next week, I'm just so upset about this one.
I doubt it.
At least I ate first.
Bill, what's the number for the IABS?
It's not,
16?
It's not a notice.
The ideas.
hey Siri,
2501.
what's the number for the IABS?
He found it, 2501.
She said IBS, I'm like.
The short form, minimal duties. Put minimal duties, put the interest of your client above all others, including broker's interest. Inform the client of material information about property transactions received by the broker. Answer the client's questions and present any offers. Treat all parties to real estate transaction honestly and fairly. So are you gonna do a CMA? Nope. Are you gonna write an offer? Doesn't say you write, it doesn't say you write
It doesn't say
anything.
that.
It says you present it.
You better stop.
Does it say anything? Let me look at the other form real quick.
So you might go 1507.
I haven't even taught this one.
Oh,
So full service, if you're going to do full service, just do the long form. It talks about client obligations to us. Talks about intermediary. What's missing on here?
your duty?
Indemnification and release of liability.
Why did they move?
Cause it's the
So
short.
this is
form.
a short form. This is just opening a door. Yeah, so you're just opening the door and whatever fee that you put here, it says a fee there, then you have to collect that before you open the door. And of course, it has to be
Oh my
collected
God.
by the broker. Otherwise, if you put a zero in there, you're working for free again.
Oh, wait a minute. So this
If
is a form to show houses only.
Yeah.
And we encourage you to try to be.
Be upfront.
I would love to.
Doesn't say you're gonna write an offer, doesn't say you have to do a CNA. It says
You
you
have an agent that was giving advice, was it supposed to?
Mhm.
It just got-
Yeah.
Can't get anything like that.
But I was with the broker, yes.
They make some good points
No,
about
could
it.
have been yesterday, I was sick. Anyway, she liked it for just those ones that may call you and say, I wanna see this house. Well, you can use this one, you can open the door. Then y'all can negotiate for the full form.
Cause I think you basically tell them if I can't make it open, open the door, I pay somebody to open the door for me, $50 to go over the door.
That's not what this would be for, though, correct?
Same thing, right, if I'm showing the houses.
No, if you've already have a buyer's representation agreement.
So one time you use this is when you have a violation.
This is
You don't-
a past.
You don't have a buyer's rep.
So you don't have.
Yeah, this is the short form.
Well,
of
I
buyer's
know
rep.
I can pass it on to my buddy, but I'm saying it's the same thing as when I was passing it on to my buddy, I paid him to open the door. I was always still working for free, just 2 hours. And then
You didn't have a buyer's rep?
Then you're not working for free.
You didn't have one.
I did have.
Well, then you don't need one. You already have the buyer's rep. So if you ask me, you pay me $75 to open the door next door to me, I don't need it because you have it.
You see that?
And the buyer's representation agreement, the listing agreement, who owns those?
You.
The broker. The broker owns them and you're an associate of the broker, so you're representative of the broker. You don't have to do multiple buyer's representation.
They're clear through your original rental
Yeah.
agreement.
Of course, unless it's outside the market area.
So just like I have a friend come from New York, I say, yeah.
Well, you only,
And I
with
say,
a
well,
friend, a friend has to be a real estate agent with Keller Williams Memorial,
Okay, that's it, thank you.
okay?
I don't want you to teach this when I hate it.
It
I thought it was shortened. to the point, but-
is short to the point, it just leaves a lot out.
It's so hard.
Okay.
I need to learn it.
So those are the big changes. I think there was a few more things in here.
No advice.
No advice.
All I do is laugh my mouth, there's no way I can.
For your license renewal, don't wait till the last minute. If you're a new agent, you must have 98 hours of SAEs. 30 hours of those must be in brokerage. Last year, they decided that as a new agent, we need to let you know what to expect from your broker. Are you getting the value from your broker? So that's why they added it. Then you have to have 60 other hours of SAEs, legal 1 and legal 2. With your SAEs, your first renewal cycle, it cannot be extended. If you don't complete your hours by the last day of the month, you cannot extend it, you have an expired license.
Since when?
Always.
Oh,
CEs, after your first time, well, then you can pay a fee and get more days. With the CEs, you must have legal 1, legal 2, a contracts class, and 6 hours of electives. If you're a licensed supervisor, you have to have corporate responsibility.
Mitch, when you teaching that again?
It's either
And you know
first
what?
week of
It's-
September.
That happened to me when I first got my license and. Yeah, I didn't, anyway, long story short, what happens is you lose the date of your first, when you first get your license.
Oh, that's when you
I
become, that's when you become a broker. This is the broker responsibility course.
No, she's saying
No.
she didn't extend or make it in time.
Right,
So
I
she
didn't
went
make it
and that
time.
lost her day. When they reinstated her, she got that.
Right, so when I got reinstated, so when you look at my check, it says whatever date I was reinstated, but the first 2 years.
Oh, that's
Oh,
unfair.
that's-
Yeah, same thing, it's the same way when you get your broker's license.
They're gonna take my date away again?
Yep, they'll change your date.
Yeah,
And you also have to have the code of ethics course through NAR. And that is due by 4th December.
How about, I didn't know code of ethics was something you were supposed to keep doing.
Yep, every 3 years.
They're like, it was 4 years behind.
It used to be covered in legal 1 and 2 in the state of Texas. What I was told when I did the instructor's course is next year we'll probably have it covered in our legal 2 with the state of Texas. It isn't finalized yet.
Okay.
I think it needs to be an independent,
I like it being an independent.
and because it needs to be drilled in some people's,
Which one?
Oh, yeah,
the code of ethics.
For sure.
for my
It needs to
professional
be
standard,
drilled like into people's brain, like standalone.
yeah. Professional
Right.
standards board that I'm on, I have to have 16 hours of it every 2 years.
Oh, wow.
It's excellent. They go in a lot of detail.
I loved it. Code of ethics made me feel like I was in the military again. Or so this is
Okay.
alright.
Well, good, so
I love
that's,
that.
they should do that. I would be all for that.
Okay, that is the last of my slides.
Oh, people were listening to us?
Oh, yeah, and it's recorded.
Oh, my.
Anyone have any questions about just compliance in general?
Not right
Remember-
now, but we will.
Yeah, of course. For your listings, submit them for review when they go on the MLS. For your contracts, submit them as soon as you get out of option period. Don't wait. I got so many calls after the hurricane. I've got a closing. Can you look at this? No. We didn't have, up here, we didn't have electricity. I didn't have internet at the house. Maryland's people that live over in here, they didn't have it. So it's like, go ahead and submit it and then we can make changes. Or we can remind you that, hey, it's after August 16th, you need this form, you're gonna need that form.
Yeah.
Okay?
And if you're in coaching, your coach must review your forms before you
Yes.
submit. A bunch of errors to Mitch, we fix them and have to do them all over again.
We need to get together, so I talked
Yes, we
talked
do.
to Michael and he said, go for it.
Do you think we should do a amendment class, like everybody come, let's amend your current listings and
Sure.
we'll pick whichever one of your one to four, whichever one of your Thursdays. And just pack the house. Cause I don't wanna talk to
All right,
everybody.
thank you, Lynn.